What's up, YouTube? This is Too Raw for TV. All right, so it was a little over a month ago now, August the 1st of this year, when Ghislaine Maxwell, who we may have to remind people, is in prison for conspiring with Jeffrey Epstein to sexually molest thousands of women and underage girls, right? One of the most notorious sex traffickers in the history of the world was moved from a holding prison or holding facility in Florida to a much more posh prison camp in Bryan, Texas, named Federal Prison Camp Bryan. And this is one of those posh country club prisons for those who've committed mostly nonviolent or white-collar crimes, especially those who are of immense wealth. You're going to see a lot of millionaires and billionaires, notable people in these types of situations. And most of us feel like this was a reward for her keeping her mouth shut and saying nothing but nice things for the current occupant of the White House, who we all know has ties to Jeffrey Epstein. Anybody with common sense knows that he's on that list, or at least he's on the non-redacted original list. But because she played nice, she gets rewards. And now she lives better than the average American. Look, at this new prison country club, which is where she is now part of a camp where she gets to go out every day, reportedly. There are no recording devices or audio recording devices. At the facility, they have a spa. Okay. They get to participate in yoga. They have organized and informal games. They get to play sports if they need to or want to. They have an overall physical fitness program. They get to play table games, hobby and crafts. They have music programs there, intramural activities, social, cultural organizations, and they get to watch movies. And the food I hear is absolutely delicious. So I tell you, and I tell you these things, and I ask you, they're living better than most of us who are struggling to make ends meet, struggling to pay the rent, sometimes having to work 2 and 3 jobs. These motherfuckers, these criminals, are living it up. These posh criminals, at least, don't say they're really struggling. Motherfuckers that have defrauded companies of hundreds of millions, if not billions of dollars. And she doesn't even belong there. She doesn't fit the profile. She doesn't fit the MO. She should be rotting away in the worst prisons. She's one of the biggest, as I said before, she's one of the biggest sex traffickers. Let's go ahead and say the biggest sex traffickers in the world, in history. This woman would stalk malls and worse, playgrounds. And she participated in some of these activities. And I did a little research. This prison camp, Camp Bryan, usually holds prisoners whose sentences are usually no longer than a span of about 5 years. So I wouldn't put it past the realm possibility that in the waning days of the Trump administration, she gets a pardon. I wouldn't put it past it. So while everybody has moved on seemingly from the Epstein thing, I haven't, because I don't think America is behaving, or American, the justice system is fair and just. I know people can become cynical and say, that's just how things are. Well, we don't have to accept these things. We don't have to accept things as they are. Sometimes, well, you know what? I don't want to get in trouble for saying certain things. You know what I'm saying? This is YouTube. When I say get in trouble, set myself up to have people attack my page. But in certain junctures in this country, in the history of this country, people had to stand up and fight for change. It's not going to come to you. You know what I'm saying? Right now, we live in a country where it's no longer anything close to a democracy. This is more or less an oligarchy. Those who are wealthy, the top 1%, can, in effect, do whatever they want to do and get away with it. They'll get away with it. As long as they're not attacking someone bigger than they are, they'll get away with it. Look how much we're paying in taxes. Look how much we are taxed as far as our percentage of income, right? And then when you have a time to look at it, when you have a chance to check it out, look at our infrastructure, look at our roads, look at our buildings. Why are so many roads and have potholes, and why are so many more of our bridges collapsing? Why are so much of our infrastructure buildings look so run down? And then you look over in Europe, and their buildings and their infrastructure looks so beautiful, despite the fact that they supposedly don't have the wealth that we have. That's because you got motherfuckers stealing hundreds of millions of dollars from us. I mean, you got that congresswoman, that Minnesota congresswoman, who as recently as 2019 was in debt. Now all of a sudden she has a net worth of $30 million, right? Well, how did people get all this money? Why is it that people come to Congress, a place where you're supposed to serve the American people, you have a fixed annual income of $170,000, which is pretty good money, but yet somehow these people end up multimillionaires? You tell me how that's happening. There's corruption going on. Absolutely insane corruption. And we're just tolerating it. We're tolerating it because we're distracted by sports talk and stuff like that. Don't get me wrong. I like talking sports, but in the grand scheme of things, it's not very important. They've tricked us into being more passionate about who's the GOAT than, stand up for children's rights in this country. Stand up for those, stand up against those who prey upon the weak. Our passions are fucked up. Our priorities are screwed up. Man, that's all I got to say about it. Tell me what you guys think.